Hello, in this video I will be making puff pastry. It's quite complicated. It does take some commitment to make. It's not just something you rustle up, but it's worth doing. The difference between a good homemade puff pastry and the shop bought ones is a big difference. I do also buy the shop bought ones. I don't make this very often at all. So, for whatever occasion you want to make some really good puff pastry, I think you'll like this one. I'm going to simplify this recipe. It's a Paul Hollywood recipe. And if you go on to any platform like YouTube or Rumble or something like that, you're going to see a lot of videos on how to do it. And they seem to be so complicated. You need a tape measure, you need this, that. And it's like, my little brain struggles. So I'm going to show you how I do it. It's a much more simple way of doing it. And you're not going to need very much other than I do recommend you get some really good quality butter. That is a French one. They're French, they're annoying, but they do make really good butter. And this recipe is from Paul Hollywood, and it's pretty good. So I know that you're going to really like this one. All right, the Paul Hollywood recipe will be in the description below. It has strong flour and a plain flour, so that I'm whisking them both. I'm sifting them into a bowl. Beat the eggs, and then whisk those two flours to combine them nicely. Create a well in the middle, and now we're going to add in the wet ingredients. So the eggs were chilled and the water was chilled. We want to try to keep the heat out of this. That's also why I'm stirring it with a knife. Apparently that stirs up strife and all that, but I like to live the life dangerously. And now I'm going to use my little scraper there. Trying to keep the heat from my hands away from this dough. In with the hand finally. And we're going to knead this for a little bit. So onto a board, very, very sticky mess I'm getting myself into. I'm going to clean up my hands with a little bit of flour. So a bit of flour in your hands, rub them together, it sort of cleans them up a little bit. And we're going to need to use flour with this rolling. Don't try to do this without using flour. You will need it. And this is going to have about 1 minute or so of gentle kneading just to really bring it together, to make it a smooth dough. You'll see the change miraculously happen with a bit of editing. There you go. That looks smooth. We're happy with that. So we're going to wrap it and we're going to put that in the fridge for a little while. So again, we're in and out of the fridge all the time we're doing this recipe, and it will take time. It's one of those sort of jobs you do where you've got other things you're doing around the house perhaps, and every now and again you can go in and you can do a bit more work. So put the butter in some parchment, and we're going to bash this out, and we're going to try to create a nice sort of rectangular shape here. The rectangular shape for me is really important. That way it's going to be more evenly dispersed between layers of the dough. And there we go. See that nice and sort of pliable. Little things amuse me. Yeah, I know. So a bit more parchment, and I'm thinking, okay, let's just try to get these really squared off. If you've got like really nice freezer bags, food bags, that sort of thing, you can use that. I was going to do that today, but I realised that the ones I buy, they're sort of pinched at the ends. So anyway, the best I could do with the parchment. Now the butter is in the fridge, and the dough is back out, and you can see me again. Each time I'm going, I want to try to keep this rectangular shape. Let's keep that going. Keep flouring it as you need to. And what we're doing here, this dough has to be big enough to completely encase the butter, not quite big enough. Let's roll it out a bit more. So there'll be bakers out there that will say there's a reason why we measure everything, and it's probably to do with having it perfectly distributed between the layers, and that will give you a more even rise, most likely. But I don't want to put people off. Let's have a go. Let's get cooking. Let's not look for perfection every time, but try to do the best we can. You will need a little pastry brush each time. You're going to sort of brush away the excess flour and bring those sides in. We've got that nice rectangular shaped bit of butter. We've created a parcel. It's all contained, because obviously you don't want the butter spilling out from the dough, and if the butter warms up too much, it will get all melty and greasy and come out. So in and out of the fridge. Give that about 10 minutes, and then we're going to do the process of 6 simple turns. It's what it's called, a simple turn. I get confused because I'm a bit of a simpleton. And again, keeping the rectangular shape as we go, brushing off excess flour, Now we're going to do, this is the simple turn. It's you bring the top over by a third, brushing away the excess flour, and then try to get those corners square and bring the other third back over the top. You now have 3 layers. You've got dough, butter, dough, sort of thing, if you know what I mean. Each time you do the turn, is it exponential? I don't know. There's people there that can work out these things. I need a calculator and I just can't be bothered. But that's what makes puff pastry so lovely. So that's the second turn. We're going to mark that. 2 little marks there. That's going to go back in the fridge to firm up again. So when we take it out again, if we lose count. And this is also very important. Between each turn, rotate it 90 degrees. That way you're never rolling the same direction twice. And here, squaring off those edges. Yes, nice and square. Thank you. And what happens with puff pastry, how it works is, when this is in the oven, the butter will melt and the steam will rise, and that is what gives it the lift. It's the same as it is with the croissants. That is why the layers create the laminating process, what this is called. That's our 4th turn. 1, 2, 3, 4 little marks there. That's what gives you that lovely, wonderful, flaky texture to your pastry. And that's the 6th and final turn. And that's it, we've got homemade puff pastry. I sort of want that to squish together, and as I say, you wrap that or put that back in a bag in the fridge, it will sort of squish together a bit more. And there's me trying to work out a nice thumbnail. Anyway, I'm going to hand you over now to have a little talk about this. So there you see how straightforward and easy it is to make puff pastry, but time consuming. And it's up to you whether you think that's going to be worthwhile or not. The only way you're going to find out is by having a go. And like I said, hopefully the technique I've showed you there is less daunting than some of the other techniques, which there really are some complicated ones. There's ones where you, and I would say far better bakers than I, and they're at the top of their game, but you mix flour into the butter, you put a bit of butter into the pastry part of it first, the dough, and it just seems, and take measures, and for me it's like, that's just too much. I can't be bothered with that, but that is going to be delicious. It's going to be much nicer than any shop bought puff pastry. And in the next video I'm going to make a tomato tart with it, so you'll be able to see how easy it is to make that. And the following video I may make something else from it. Anyway, thank you for watching, liking, subscribing, and all that sort of stuff. And I will catch you in that next video of tomato tart pretty soon. Bye then.